Today we're going to be making a 3-foot Cat6 cable. I'll probably use it as a patch cable. The same rules would apply if you're going to be running a longer cable as well. As you can see, I have a few things laid out on the desk in front of us here. So welcome to the channel, sit back, relax, and let's learn how to make a network cable. So this is going to be primarily used for normal use in a home. I created Midnight Handyman because I realized, being a homeowner, there's a lot of things that you end up having to do, and it usually is at midnight, and you have to be some kind of a handyman in order to figure it out. So if you are trying to connect a computer or any piece of electronics, really, to your home network, and you need a cable of some sort, this is the place. So let's learn how to make a network cable. We're going to go through it. As mentioned, I do have a few things laid out here. First, let's start with the network cable. So this is a Cat6 cable. You can get it in a spool, typically 250 feet to 500 to 1,000 feet. Personally, I think I purchased a box that had 500 feet in it, I believe. And you can get this from your local big box store, really. So we definitely need this. You're also going to need some RJ45 connectors. These are of the pass-through. So you can get a couple different ones. So the RJ45 is what you need for a network cable. And this is specific for the type of crimper that I have, which is right here. You're going to need a crimper. And also a wire stripper, which I have right here. This is going to help you strip back the cabling and allow you to get those into the connector. So when it's all said and done, you're going to need a tester potentially. This may not be a necessity, but it's also good to have one in case you need to test that cable if you have something that goes wrong with it. So we'll be testing the cable that we make today. And this is the bag of RJ45 connectors that I purchased. It's a Cat6 pass-through plug, and I purchased a 200 pack. So we're going to set that off to the side for now, make some room for some of these other things. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is get your cable ready. So I cut a 3-foot cable, and I will likely use this as a patch cable on my switch at my home. And the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take the stripper, the wire stripper here. This particular one, you just set it in, and we'll go probably about there, and then just pull it. And there you go. Now, you can remove this piece. You don't need it. That's just the shielding on the cable. You can set that off to the side and throw it away later. Here is the important part. So these are the different cables, or wires, I should say, that you're going to have to put into a specific order. Okay, so you want to go ahead and untwist all of these cables so you can get it in the right order. So bear with me and I'll go ahead and do that. With Movie Magic, they are all untwisted and they are ready to be put in the proper order. So you have this little piece here. You can really just discard that, cut it. I usually will take my crimpers because they are probably the easiest thing to do it with, and just slide that in there and cut it so it's a little bit shorter. That was a horrible cut. We'll try that again. Boy, that last little bit just doesn't want to go. Well, that's good enough. All right. So we'll just set those off to the side. And the all-important order. So, the way that I learned how to do it many, many years ago is this. And the order that I do it in is orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, brown. So we're going to put them in that order. So let's do that. So orange, white. And usually what I like to do is I'll kind of straighten them out a little bit, so it's a little bit easier to get them through the connector. And I must say, having a pass-through connector is probably the way to go, especially if you've never tried to make a cable before. The other type of connector, you have to cut them at a certain length, and you have to make sure they're all the way through to the end. It's way easier to do it in a pass-through. And for many, many years, I never got a pass-through because I always thought, no, it's not going to be as good. But I've ran a lot of cabling in my home, and I found that pass-through works a lot better because you don't really have to worry too much about it. You can cut a decent amount off. You can run it through the end and just make sure that it goes through the right slots. And you're good to go. You cut it and you do it again. And it works out really well. So I would highly recommend that you look at pass-through because it works good. So let's get these in the right order. So like I said, you just want to kind of straighten them out a little bit so they're easier to get through the RJ45 connector. All right, we're almost there. So I've got them in the right order. I'm just trying to straighten them out a little bit so it's easier to get through that connector. And I can tell you, once we get them set up to where we can get it passed through the RJ45 connector, it's going to be pretty straightforward from there. So it's pretty important to make sure that they get flattened out and they get through the right area in that connector. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And they don't really have to be perfect, so keep that in mind. So let's give it a try. Something else that you can also do, which I do sometimes just to keep them all straight, with this particular crimper, you can put them in, and it's that razor right there, and just make them all the same length. And then it makes it a really clean connection. So let's see if we can do this. So the way that this connector works is it's a pass-through. So it's open on the end, as you can see. And you literally put this cable through here, and they have little guides that you can line up, and you can kind of take a look and see if things are going where they need to, and wiggle it through, and you can see it's already starting to come through on the other end, and it's pretty easy to check the color once you get it pushed in there too. So before we get too far, I'll get it pushed through just enough so I can see what colors are where, and we'll just double check, make sure we got them in there right. So orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, brown. All right, so we did it. So now we're just going to keep pushing this cable through, as you can see, until it can't go through anymore. And so you can see in here, you can see that this blue shielding has gone as far as it can go into this, and you can kind of see how everything is separated out by the color, and how each cable has its own little slot that it goes through. Okay? So once you get to that point, you want to push it, like I said, all the way through until that blue sheathing can't be pushed any further. Okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your crimper, and you're going to have some stuff fall out of it because you just cut cables, or cut the cord on cable. Now, maybe I'll leave that in. Who knows? All right, and then you're just going to line this up. Well, you're going to probably want to straighten this out a little bit. Make sure everything's in there nice and snug. And you're going to push it through here. So see how that goes. And on this, on a pass-through, you can see it says trim here. And basically, when you crimp the cable, it's also going to cut whatever is passed through on the other end. So let's go ahead and do that. There you go. So, and as you can see, it just cuts everywhere. Usually I'll do this over a trash can, and it turns out pretty good. So let's inspect what we did here. So we've got it finished. It looks like all of the colors are correct. And you can see where it cut the cable at the end. So let's see. Maybe. Let's try and get a real super close up of that. Yeah, that didn't work out real well. But anyway, you just want to inspect it. This end looks pretty good. It's nice and clean. The blue sheathing is all the way up where it should be. And so this side of the cable essentially would be done. Like I said, we have a 3-foot cable. So we're going to go to the other end, and we're going to repeat this process. So I won't bore you with that. I'll go ahead and get that taken care of, and then we're going to test it, and we're going to see how we did. We got the other end completed. So you can see They are done the exact same way. Well, maybe. Kind of see this one has a little bit of plastic on it. You can just scrape that off. That'll be fine. So now the moment of truth. We're going to go ahead and take our connector. It's pretty straightforward. You have an RJ45 connector on this end, an RJ45 connector on this one, and in case you're wondering, yes, this does separate, so that way you can put it at the end of a longer run and then plug in this, or vice versa, so you can test the entire length of the cable. For this one, we're just gonna leave it connected because we have a shorter cable, and we'll just plug one end here, and whoops, we went the wrong way. And we'll plug the other one here. So now we have the cable completely connected. We're going to power it on. And as you can see, we passed. So we made a good cable. And the tester, like I said, it's not something that you have to have, especially if you're just starting to do this. You can always make the cable, plug it in, and test if whatever piece of equipment you're trying to connect actually works, and that would be just as good as this. But this is confirmation that, yes, we made a good cable. So we can power this off. We can unplug it. And now we can go use this cable wherever we need it. So I want to thank you for watching this video or listening to this podcast on Apple Podcasts. I guess this would be a good time to do a few announcements. So first off, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, the video would probably be very helpful. So if you want to go to YouTube, Midnight Handyman, or Spotify, that's where the video is going to be. So if you want to listen to it, then that's fine. You can do that. Pretty clear instructions verbally, but the video would be very helpful. So I want to thank you for watching this. There will be more to come. And it's going to be based on what you would find in a normal home situation. So you don't necessarily have to be a homeowner to get some useful information from this channel, but that is the reason why I created it. So if you need to be your own Midnight Handyman, then stick around and we're going to have more content for you. Actually, if you want to stick around, you should probably subscribe. That would probably be better. So, it's my first video. Please be easy on me. I promise I'll get better in the future. Thanks for watching, listening. We'll see you soon.